Everyone, welcome into another Weather Undefeated. This time we are going to be talking about pro water skiing, and we're actually going to be joined right now by a pro, Freddie Winter, joining us from the Water Ski Pro Tour. Freddie, always great to kind of learn more about sports that I really don't know much information about, and we appreciate you joining us here on Weather Undefeated. And you know, the reason we do Weather Undefeated, we talk about sports and weather, and I have to think that weather is just so important to the sport of water skiing.
It hugely affects us. We're an outdoor sport and we do it over a big distance. You know, the lakes we're on, they tend to be 2,000 plus feet long. They tend to be pretty narrow actually because we're trying to get it to where the water is as flat as possible. We kind of ski in these funny sort of, you know, long, narrow lakes. You're going to be affected by any level of wind. So, you know, you want basically zero wind. That's your ideal. When it starts getting up to 5 miles an hour, that's fine, that's doable. 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour, then that's really getting quite tough. What you're looking for is a headwind. That's what you want. But you of course ski both ways. So when you have a headwind, which is a wind that's coming towards you, it slows you down a little bit. It keeps tension in the rope. It actually makes it a lot easier. Then of course, conversely, you come back the other way. This is in slalom water skiing, of course. You come back the other way and you've got the wind behind you. So that, you know, you're pushed down the lake. You don't decelerate as easily. It's like driving a race car with bad brakes. You can't, you know, you just don't have that control. So I'm a slalom skier. There's also jumping. That's a very interesting one. When you go off a ramp, weirdly, you'd think you'd want the wind behind to push further, but actually what you want is the wind coming towards you and getting underneath your skis so that you can actually ride that wind up. You'll see something similar with the snow ski jumpers that you might see on the TV in the winter.
And can you talk about how just some slight changes in those water conditions, they can make you maybe wipe out, maybe impact your score on one of your events?
At the top end, when the wind's, you know, 20 miles an hour, we tend not to cancel tournaments. I mean, it does happen, but, you know, they're kind of set for certain days. So we'll always kind of go ahead, and obviously it brings the scores down. It makes it more tricky. You're more likely to wipe out. But, you know, the difference between sort of 20 miles an hour and 24 miles an hour is crazy in terms of just making it just on the edge of skiable where the best guys can do it to making it really unskiable. When you see those white caps, we call them, those white horses on top of the waves coming down the lake, that's when you're really in trouble. No one wants to ski in that. That's where it kind of gets dangerous.
What is the ideal forecast where you look at that forecast and you say, you know what, the temperatures are great, the wind speeds? Can you kind of take us through when you would say, maybe I'm going to have a great run today? These weather conditions are fantastic.
But I'll tell you something, you don't want the weather to be 100 degrees because one, it's going to, you know, you're going to get sapped. You stand around all day a lot waiting to go. You don't want to get too hot. So I'd say you kind of want to be in those high 70s, low 80s. The higher the temperature of the water, the slower the water is. So it's actually hard to get wide, to actually get your speed. You'll find that you won't be able to make as much speed on the water when that water is a little bit hotter. Conversely, when it's very cold, you lose that you know, athlete's ability to be, you know, fully on their toes. You get a bit chilly. You're not at 100%. The water gets a little bit faster. But you know, there's kind of give and take there. I mean, my personal favorite would be, you know, like I say, high 70s, low 80s, nice water about that temperature. That's where things are going to really work, and then no wind.
Freddie Winter, we appreciate you joining us here on Weather Undefeated, professional water skier for the Water Ski Pro Tour. Freddie, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about weather and the sport of water skiing.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.